It's week 11 of the NFL season, and some dynasty leagues have trade deadlines. Those are this week. So we give you some intel on who to make offers for, who to trade away. It's the Dynasty Pulse. Producer, hit the button. Welcome to another edition of the Dynasty Pulse right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network, The Undroppables, and 101.5 FM, Talking West Tennessee. We are a collection of the three, but sometimes four and sometimes five biggest ball knowers in the business. There's stiff competition out there, but we're stiffer. We're here to talk about stock up, stock down. We're here to get probed. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Hopefully I'm the one doing the probe, and I'm not so great at the of the probe taking, if you will. So
Chev, how you doing? And I'm Bigz. Welcome to the show, everybody. What you got for us, Mike?
Oh, geez, that was a wonderful open to this show here, guys. I mean, it's week 11, and there's a ton going on in the dynasty space. A lot of news we got to talk about. A lot of things changing in the landscape, and a bunch of storylines we definitely need to get into. And we'll start with the first one here, Biggs. I'll start with you, Jayden Daniels. From QB1 hype to the 2025 injury challenge now, heading into a sophomore season. I had Jayden Daniels hyped, and he was my QB1 headed into this season. And unfortunately, this year has been a nightmare for him and myself when I rostered him. So his injuries are plaguing, and that was some of the issues people were worried about him headed in to the NFL, and it just wasn't, brought to light last year. He was, perfect health last year, and now, we were relying on Marcus Mariota, stepped in, mixed results. Now, we're looking at Jayden Daniels' fantasy stock right now, especially in Dynasty. He was once considered, a QB1, along the lines of, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. We talked about him in our tier episode, and he was in tier number 1. Now injuries have emerged, and the young quarterback is now plagued a little bit here. You see guys like Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart, Drake May rising the ranks here in that landscape. Biggs, is he still a top option for you, or how far is this stock fallen? Because I've been trying to get out of him in some of my leagues that I'm a contender in, and I need some help at quarterback, and I'm not able to get a deal that's worth taking at this stage.
Well, going into the season, your process was not wrong. You have a high upside, high ceiling, running quarterback with a big arm that puts up numbers when he's healthy and on the field. So we fall into this trap of ranking players when we really should be creating tiers like we did. So to call him a number 1 isn't necessarily going to be as accurate as calling him in tier 1. And that talent level hasn't changed. I'm still just as high on Jayden Daniels as I have been. You can't account for injuries most of the time. So what you do, and the key to being a successful fantasy football player, is you account for it with picking up Marcus Mariota as a backup. I know in a lot of my teams, if I had say a Jalen Hurts, I went out and I got his backups. If I have Jackson Dart, I want Jameis Winston. If I have, it goes. You want the handcuffs right on your roster. A lot of dynasty leagues have super deep benches, taxi squads, good IR, a lot of roster moves that can be made. So you do want to target those backups. And we've talked about it on the show before, where not only do you target those backups just in case something happens to your starter, but if something happens to your starter, they also, or you have somebody else's and something happens to their starter, they also become a trade value. However, going forward, I think that Jayden Daniels is just as valuable. He needs to have a healthy season, and he still has the upside to finish as QB1 next year. So I wouldn't be so hot to jump off him now. I say he's absolutely a hold, and maybe take advantage of his value dropping and go pick him up if you can.
Chev, what do you think about this? Like, are you worried about his injury concerns now? Is that something that you're going to be, looming at the back of your head, as you progress through your lineups with Jayden Daniels moving forward?
So, yes and no. Okay. Here we are with, a year removed from basically when you guys brought me onto the show, and we were talking about Jayden Daniels being basically in that same elite tier as Lamar and Josh Allen, and potentially being at the head of that tier. Now, let me ask you guys this. Has anything changed regarding his talent level?
No.
Okay. No. Okay. Still the elite offensive unit that they were. What changed? It's just injury, right?
Correct. Injuries to
Okay.
Daniels and to Terry McLaurin.
To Terry McLaurin, and them shipping off the stalwart in the running game. They added Laramie Tunsil, who's $100 million tackle. It just is worst case scenario for Jayden Daniels right now. And if I were in the business of acquiring Jayden Daniels, you're going to get a depressed price point. So now would be the time to aggressively try to buy him. Now, go ahead.
So you say that this might be the worst case scenario. Was maybe last year the best case scenario, and we're maybe having to temper our expectations for something in the middle? Maybe we got to expect for him to miss maybe 1 or 2 games this season based off of his play style and his size and what we're looking for.
Well, he did miss a couple games last year.
That should have been in your evaluation anyway.
Yeah.
So that wasn't his best case scenario either.
Right.
His best case scenario is still out there. He hasn't reached it yet.
We're about to go through this. We're about to go through this with Drake May and Jackson Dart. And, like there was a period of time where people questioned how good Lamar was. If anything happens, people have rabbit or lizard brains and they just forget, like, oh, this guy's awesome. Like you had people questioning whether or not Joe Burrow was a QB1 when he broke his wrist and he wasn't picking up the water bottle with the wrist that he broke or whatever. So we got to be thermostats, not thermometers. It's to me personally, is one of those things where you got a bad run out. You shouldn't abandon how you felt about him coming into the season. It's just not happening the way you want it to happen. You got a 5th percentile outcome instead of a 90th percentile outcome, which I do think that, his rookie year was probably close to like a 90th percentile outcome. I think he's awesome. I still think he belongs in that elite tier, but we're going to have to expand that tier after this year and add your boys, Bigz specifically, Jackson Dart and Drake May, into that tier. So I personally am not panicking on Jayden Daniels at all. If you've watched him play for any period of time, he plays like a crash dummy. And this time, playing like a crash dummy has penalized him. So we just got to take a step back, realize like, hey, this isn't, we're not getting the production that we want, but we still believe that he's an elite talent. So yeah, I have no long-term qualms. It's just, dude plays like he, drives with no seatbelt all the time. And that just happens to be bad for us.
And we've seen that before with other quarterbacks that came into the league playing like that, had some injury luck, and kind of changed their playing style. Not necessarily not being aggressive, but being more measured, being safer. And we're going to watch Jackson Dart have to go through the same thing because that boy plays like his hair's on fire, and he's already had a concussion and losing a game played because of that concussion. So young quarterbacks, they just have to kind of go through those growing pains, and then they come out better players at the end.
And rumor has it that some of the reason why Dable was fired was the way he's handled Jackson Dart and how, ruthless he's been with him. And maybe the next coach is going to be a little bit more careful with him, choosing a little bit more when to run and not use him overly in that manner. Obviously, Dable was fighting for his job, and obviously they saw that, and they want to protect their best asset right now outside of Malik Neighbors. Yes, Chev.
That's an excellent point that you brought up, Mike. I wanted to piggyback on that because you heard the Patriots coaching staff say last year, we understood that this was a lost year. We didn't want Drake May. We didn't call designed runs and have Drake May run as much last year because we knew he didn't have the protection. Now, he did still end up running for 420 yards because he had the highest scramble rate in the entire NFL. But it's you want the organization to do a better job protecting, their young quarterback. I think Washington has failed miserably at that. I think you've seen the Giants fail miserably at that with Brian Daboll. I think they're going if they can rub two nickels together and find some common sense. I think that going into next year, we'll see an improvement in how Jackson Dart protects himself and how the coaching staff calls plays. Obviously, it's going to be different when they get Scat Pack back and Malik Neighbors. It won't be, all Jackson Dart all the time. But I just think that that's going to, it's going to lend itself to Jackson Dart figuring out how to protect himself at the professional level.
The Giants I want to talk about real quick because, and this is just kind of an aside, I have found myself targeting as many of the Giants' young stars as I can in fantasy, but when Dable got fired, there was some heat on the GM. Why didn't the GM get fired with him? But when you really look at that squad that they've put together, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors as their primary weapons, and then the defensive line that they have, that
Theo
GM
Johnson too.
Yeah, and Theo Johnson. He got heat for how he handled the Saquon Barkley contract and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But look at where that team is and how much talent they have. I think the GM is the architect of a pretty good squad that is going to be successful in the next few years. And Dable was just not handling things correctly. So I have high hopes for all of them, and they're all targets of mine.
Well, it's such a tough situation because you have the GM who was like, yeah, we should pay Daniel Jones and let Saquon Barkley go. Like, they've done a great job at finding and evaluating talent. They've done a terrible job of evaluating the talent in the building, and that's why I feel like he should go. But, I mean, that's a family of ball knowers because his 12-year-old was like, draft Jayden Daniels, Dad. Do whatever you got to do to draft Jayden Daniels. And you see how that worked out. So they know ball. They just don't know what to do with the contracts when the guys are good.
And I think if they get a head coach in that's going to develop them offensively, I think the sky is pretty high for the New York Giants right now.
I love that situation. I mean, we were always high on the Giants leading into this year, knowing that Scatterbo, we were Scatterbo truthers here on the show. We were Scatterbo over Tyrone Tracy the whole way down, and seeing what Jackson Dart can do. And we know what the upside of Malik Neighbors is. He's got wide receiver 1 overall potential here. And maybe with Jackson Dart and a better system, this Giants offense could be something really special in the years to come for fantasy football. So I'm excited to see what that could help bring to us. Yep. All right, let's move on to the next question here. And Chev, I've been waiting to talk about this guy, but I think I've been waiting a little bit too long because we were hoping this hype would have lived up earlier. But after a promising finish to 2024, many of us dynasty managers had Jameson Williams pegged as a breakout star, potentially challenging Amon-Ra St. Brown for the team leading production. But that breakout, however, it was slow to materialize until maybe recently this week. He erupted for 6 receptions on 119 yards and a touchdown against the Commanders. I know it was the Commanders, but Dan Campbell taking over playing calling, that is notable to me. Williams was featured on intermediate routes and crossing patterns designed to get him in space, allowing him to showcase his speed, his yak ability. Jared Goff was good and it was focused, and noting that him and Williams had a good chemistry. So, Chev, You were high on him headed into 2025, and with Campbell now calling plays, scheming in favorable matchups, does this boost your confidence on him rest of season after that slow start? Does this, give you some pause though? How are you approaching him in Dynasty? Someone you're actively targeting now or holding cautiously?
Oh, I never stopped being aggressive. Like I said, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. So why would I abandon everything that I believed about Jameson Williams because we didn't get the run out that we wanted? Is he injured? No. Did they change the way that they play offense for 8 weeks? Yes. Did it negatively impact Jameson Williams more than everyone else? Yes. Did they notice that? Also, yes. So now we have a guy who's been explosive, who can make make or break your fantasy week in one play. And we only got one of those outcomes through the first 9 weeks of the season. So if he's going to be, do you believe, and to that point, he was a wide receiver 51 going into week 9, I believe it was, or 10, week 9 bye. So week 10 or week 8 bye. So weeks 9 and 10, he comes out of the bye. John Morton comes out and says, "Hey, I screwed up. I've messed up. I haven't gotten you the ball." So if I believe in all those things, and then in turn, we've only gotten one outcome, ceiling outcome, or not even a ceiling outcome, because it was 2 catches for 108 yards. We've gotten one positive outcome in through 8 games for Jameson Williams. Why wouldn't I believe that there's 3 or 4 on the back end waiting for me? And then immediately out of the bye, they're like, "Hey, we need to get the ball to Jameson Williams." And Dan Campbell's not satisfied with it. So he takes over play calling. And guess what he does? He spams Jameson Williams because they know Amon-Ra is the guy that you count on to move the chains. Jameson Williams is the guy that you count on to dictate the defense's coverage. So whenever, if they deploy him down the field, hey, just fantastic. All right. That's what they were doing, just using him as a clear out and a decoy guy. That was really pissing everybody else off. So they've changed the way that they use him. He's back to being good for fantasy again. We've gotten 2 boom weeks, a 6 for 6 or 4 for 66 or 6 for 66 and a touchdown and 6 for 119 and a touchdown. We could be in store for 3 or 4, potentially one of those, 4 more of those outcomes over the back half of the season, and thus correcting him being wide receiver 51 to finishing around wide receiver 16 in total points per game, or 16 to 20 is where I think he finishes the year, which means he's going to put up a lot of points over the back half of the season.
Totally. Okay. Bigz, what do you got to say about that? Do you have anything comment?
No, I fully agree with Chev. We've talked about this on the podcast before. I believe we talked about it last week. Julian Edelman has a podcast, and it's great. It's called Games with Names. Everybody should be listening to it every week. And he talked on that show about how the Patriots, when he was there, they would take the first 8 weeks of the season, and that would be they would look at that, and that would give them the messages. What is the identity of the team? And it looks like the Detroit Lions have done exactly that. You go through those first 8 weeks, you see what's working, you see what hasn't worked, and then you adjust. They adjusted because Jameson Williams was a weapon last year. They realized that. So now they're kind of going back, reverting, and saying, okay, we know what works. Let's go with it. And Jameson is part of that plan. So that should be what they look like for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it kind of unlocked another level for them, I think, and one that they, built at the end of last year so strong. So yeah, like they have to go back to that, and I'm glad they finally realized that that's it. And I think our Jameson Williams shares are about to go up here in the near future. So yeah. Right, let's move on to the next one, and both you guys can kind of split this question. Schultze is not here. This was meant for him. Hopefully he's all right. But this is about Jonathan Taylor, and obviously we've talked about him in depth, but he was just incredible in Berlin. First ever regular season there game, and it was his show. 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. What a game for him. Now he's got 17 touchdowns through the season, and now he's in the same breath with Bijan. Obviously, it was not the case headed into this season, for dynasty managers. Is he now the RB1 overall? Is it hard to even put an RB1 overall? We just putting these guys in tiers because of how fluctuation this could be. But we've seen now Bijan Robinson losing some touches again to, Tyler Algier in the red zone. He's being just taken right out of the game now. That scares me. So where does he rank now? Where does Bijan rank now for the rest of the year? And is Taylor the number one guy? Chev, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts here on Bijan and then the Taylor situation?
I'm not panicked on Bijan. It's a little bit disappointing because of the way that they're using him. And after really getting the usage that we wanted last year, Tyler Algier is a good football player and he matters for that team. So I really think that we're still, in the Bijan potentially getting a surge and finishing as RB1, but it's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be like top 5. Oh no, it's the worst thing ever. So it's disappointing because how good he is. With those touches, he could probably do something awesome, but the team seems pretty content to give Tyler Algier some sort of run consistently. So let's not coach our bets. Let's not pretend like, Bijan's just going to get all the inside the 5 carries and all that stuff and just adapt. Hey man, instead of being 22 points a game, he's probably going to be 19. So
the thing that worries me about Bijan is through the first half of the season, the Falcons had the 10th easiest schedule against opposing defenses with the run game. In the back half of the season, they have the 25th easiest schedule. So the 7th hardest schedule. I'm looking at the playoffs, and if you start talking about Saquon Barkley, you start talking about even Rico Dowdle or Quinshon Judkins, Devon Achane. I think those guys have an opportunity for rest of season scoring, finish in that top 5 and knock Bijan out of it.
So you're saying out of the top 5 totally?
For rest of season, for the last
but
6,
maybe not
weeks.
finish as a top 5.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not rolling.
Just based on their strength of schedule.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I just can't. I can't. I'm contractually obligated to not agree.
Sure. Well, I'm just saying it's in the range of outcomes. I'm not saying
for sure. No, without question, you are. That's a very sharp and astute point. I just can't. My feet are taped to the bicycle with Bijan.
But there's one thing that maybe could turn Bijan's way. He hasn't seen a whole lot of pass catching opportunity in the last couple games here. That could ramp up, and with him, when he breaks off a run, his touchdown per reception rate is very high because how explosive he is. So you ramp up a reception or two, and if you look at the rest of the season schedule, it could be juicy for someone that is needing to throw to their running back, and that could be the case here for the Falcons moving forward. So I'm not sold on losing out on Bijan at this stage. You got to hold still and hope for better days ahead. Like Chev has mentioned, his skis are already firmly planted in the snow here up in Canada. So let's go. Anything else to add to the Bijan Taylor dispute? I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on Taylor? I mean, obviously his rest of season is a tough schedule moving forward, but I don't think anybody really, maybe outside of McCaffrey, who's incredible in the pass catching game, but San Francisco's getting a little bit more healthy. I'm not sure that 90 reception pace is going to continue for McCaffrey. We'll see. With Purdy coming back as well, that might factor into this. I think he may be the only one at this stage that's going to really, battle for Taylor's number 1 crown. Well, Achane too. Achane looks like a guy that could certainly be there.
I was like, man,
yeah,
it's CMC. Right now, it's JT's to lose. It's CMC. It's H-Han. Depending on what the Lions decide to do, which is wild because they really are like the new greatest show on turf. Like, hey, we just do whatever we want. That we're gonna put points on the board. Like, how do you want us to score the points, sir? Just tell us how, and we'll do it that way.
I want to tease our starts and sits. I want to tease our stock up, stock down, because I'm going to talk about one guy in relation to what I just brought up about the strength of schedule rest of the season. I'm not going to reveal that now, so you got to stay tuned. But when we look at some of the guys who are the top running backs right now, and we look at how easy their schedules have been, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, they had like top 10 easiest schedules in the first half, and they're looking at 31st for Jahmyr Gibbs, so second hardest schedule for the rest of the season. He's pretty much matchup independent. Like, it doesn't really matter. He's going to do his thing. And then Jonathan Taylor is the fourth worst rest of the season. Josh Jacobs is going to have he's got the hardest schedule rest of the season, so that's kind of a selling point. There are some things that we don't really take into consideration when we're analyzing, and strength of schedule is something that people oftentimes overlook. Now, you could say, oh, well, Alvin Kamara has the easiest schedule ahead of him, so he's going to have a big bounce back. But he had the second easiest schedule for the first half of the season. So nothing is really going to change for him as far as who his opponents are. He's going to have it easy the whole way. Why couldn't he do something with that before? So you have to look at the differential between what they had and what they're looking at. And so that I take that into consideration, especially when you're getting to trade time and you're getting to the playoffs and you're wanting to put guys in a good situation in your lineup and avoid some of the pitfalls of, somebody getting shut down by a really good defense.
So what you're saying, though, my bet for this guy finishing as a top 12 running back this season is still maybe on the table?
Correct.
Love it. I love it. Let's go into our stock up, stock down segment here, guys. And it's a type of the show where, fantasy value, it is like a meter. It goes up and down, and we're looking for, the stock meter. And we're going to talk about our stock downs first.
I'm gonna call a celebrity shot, and I'm gonna jump in for Schultze, and I'm gonna read his, and I'm gonna try and figure out why he would put them in there.
All right.
His stock up is Jacoby Myers. Better situation.
He's a jag. Yeah.
Happier situation. And Brian Thomas Jr. struggling, and Travis Hunter out for the season. His only target competition is going to be a struggling BTJ and maybe Parker Washington, but maybe Parker Washington slides back into that wide receiver 3 mode because Jacoby Myers is definitely able to do that. His stock down is Jordan Mason. He talked about it on Fantasy Forecast, how Jordan Mason has lost snap share to a healthy Aaron Jones, meaning that the whole time what Kevin O'Connell wanted to do was lead with Aaron Jones, and they haven't been happy since the Jordan Mason trade, so they're not using him as much as we think his talent level is. So that's Schultze's stock up and stock down.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, let's get into who's first on this show sheet for this one. Stock up, stock down. It was Schultze. I'm going to do my stock up then, and that's I'm
going to call an audible, and I'm going to do mine. Go ahead, Grindberg.
Okay. Well, my stock
up. I was thinking that I would do mine.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can go. Who wants to go? I'll go.
Hey, chat. In the chat, go ahead and do your stock up, stock down. We'll wait.
God, I need Mitchell sucks. He sucks so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
he had a rough game last night, tomorrow.
Like yesterday, tomorrow. We're filming this from the Bermuda Triangle where it's already happened and we're just replaying it.
So we're playing it in our mind. It's just like just keeps happening over and over.
Sorry, dude. Stock up. Go ahead.
Go, Grindberg.
All right, let's do it. Okay, my stock up is Drake London, and well, I'll say it again because I was on him as a breakout this year, as like a complete breakout. I had him finishing as a top 5 wide receiver, and I think he's on pace to do that now, despite being, in an offense that's anything from balance right now. He's turned that chaos into a great opportunity. He's the heartbeat of that offense right now. And it's not just the eye test that he passes, it's the math too. He's been the only consistent engine in that sputtering offense. He's elite level usage. He's converting top tier fantasy output right now, 85 targets on 186 team pass attempts. That's almost 30% target share, elite wide receiver 1 territory, top 3 in the league in touchdowns, 0 drops on 53 receptions. So like I'm liking what I see here from Drake London over the past 6 games there. His growth has been great, and he's elite right now, and his stock is going up. I'm not sure if it's going to be sustainable. No one really sees that type of target share, but Michael Penix is, realized that he could just throw it to him anywhere and he's going to come down with the ball. And this is a great situation. And I still think he's going to finish. I think this is wheels up for Drake London here moving forward. And I think he's going to come to fruition here as a top 5 finish this year.
He has 3 wide receiver 1 finishes in the last 4 games that he's played. That is called elite level production, and I'm here for it.
Listen, we're getting the run out that we thought we would when we saw the 3 games that Michael Penix started last year. And they've told you over and over again, hey, we're going to target Drake London a lot. We're going to make Drake London a household name. Now, does it always, people panic, again, lizard brains. What's the most recent thing that's happened? It got off to a slow start. Now he's cooking again. Now, we're getting the 30 and 35 and even 40%, targets per out run that he's at right now. Like he's getting a Malik Neighbors-esque run out. And, it's in an offensive environment where it's just they're dependent upon him and Bijan to move the ball. So they've stopped playing around. They're just going to hyper target him. We're in line for another probably 160, 170 targets without question. I mean, that's the pace right now, right? Grindberg, you say 85 targets. So they played 8 games. So, he's on pace for 170 targets.
And he missed a game because he didn't want to play with Kirk Cousins. He decided to just take that week off. He's just like, you know what? This is gonna hurt my end stat line. I'd rather not play and just roll the dice because
no more hospital balls.
Exactly. Yeah. He saw that as a bad take for his future, and he didn't want anything to do with it because that could have resurrected maybe some thoughts on Kirk Cousins' career here. Drake London plays that game, he doesn't look as bad as he does. And maybe that would have created some sort of controversy, So I think that was a great business decision, if anything, from Drake London.
Speaking of business decisions, it's bag season for Drake London.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna sign probably $35 to $40 million a year with $120 million guaranteed after the season's over with. So he's playing to basically pad whatever that number is. Like Brandon Ayuk's getting $30 million. I feel like Drake London's going up and trying to approach that Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson level, contract level. So
let's go Vegas.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And obviously the Falcons are going to re-sign him, but who knows?
There's a lot of teams in need of a wide receiver 1 of that caliber. So yeah, I think there'll be the price of the brick is going up.
Let's go.
All right, Bigz, who's your stock up?
My stock up, and I put this in the show sheet before the New England Patriots faced off against the New York Jets last night that we're watching right now. And mine is Travion Henderson. And one of the things that led to that was I was looking at rest of season schedule. And what we find is that a lot of years, it's rookies that break in the second half that become your league winners. Now, when I put them into the show notes and planned on talking about him. He was just starting his breakout. But then last night, today, yesterday, tomorrow, he had a 2-touchdown game. He's now in elite territory. It's going to be much harder for you to go out and get him because his stock is so high. But if you need somebody that's going to give you points in the playoffs, TreVeyon Henderson has a very, very easy schedule in the playoffs. And dang it, I'm trying to get to it, and it eluded me.
Just know that TreVeyon Henderson had 2 touchdowns in the first half.
So already he has 21 points and 2 touchdowns tonight. But his strength of schedule going forward, he's got Cincinnati, who's awful, the Giants, who are awful, the Buffalo Bills, who are mid against the run, and the Baltimore Ravens, who are mid against the run. And then he finishes up playoff championship week against the New York Jets again, who he's absolutely torching now. So if there's any way, if there's any price that you can pay to get TreVeyon Henderson onto your playoff roster, you do it now.
Just to add some numbers to the, to that conversation. Like we're talking about these teams that are absolutely awful. Cincinnati right now is giving up, basically 220 yards a game over the course of the last 4 weeks and 7 yards a carry. The Giants are giving up like 5.9 yards a carry. I'm pulling this up right now. Give me 1 second because I just finished talking about this on a different show. Let me see. But I really wanted to. I love this, Bigz. I can't tell you how much I love this. Like you had TreVeyon for the rookie guide write up last year, and like this is, you've seen it the whole way. Now it's happening. Even in spite, I speak Vrabel knees, so I knew that Mike Vrabel was going to be on some BS.
I start the year. McDaniels knees.
Who had TreVeyon as their RB2?
You did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, no shade here. But again, this is a TreVeyon believer. This is a circle of TreVeyon believers. But just to add, like I said, Bengals giving up 7 yards a carry. The Giants are giving up 6 yards a carry since week 7 and 187 yards a game. The Bengals are giving up 228 yards a game. If you look here, the Ravens are giving up 101 yards rushing a game and 4.97 yards a carry over the last 4 weeks. Now that's improved drastically.
They're getting healthier too. That whole defense.
Their defense is getting healthier. Roquan Smith coming back. Yeah. Buffalo is
Swiss cheese. They're up there with the worst.
Yeah, Buffalo's giving up 4.8 yards a carry and 180 or 130 yards a game rushing. So these are all opportunities for TreVeyon to absolutely go nuclear and be that league winner over the second half of the season. So great call, Bigz.
Huge call, Bigz. I love it. Yeah, great one. Chev,
I posed earlier this week or last week. Somebody was talking about TreVeyon Henderson and he finally broke out. And I said, imagine if Lunch Pail Larison hadn't gotten hurt, because Vrabel would have gone to him.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to point out, I came up with the nickname Lunch Pail Larison, and I think that's pretty good and it needs to happen.
I mean, he's the quintessential lunch pail guy.
Yeah.
All right, Chev, stock up, buddy.
Yeah, my stock up's going to be my stock up. May I do two, since we're short a couple.
Yeah. Yes.
First one, George Pickens. It's bag season, and we've had a few, basically like a 3-game non-scoring streak for George Pickens. I think that ends this Monday against the Raiders, who play a ton of cover 3. George Pickens is fighting for a $100 million plus contract. He's going to be one of the most desirable free agents. I think the Cowboys understand enough about his personality to not franchise tag him. Can you just imagine the Patriots have $111 million in cap space? Can you imagine deep balls from Drake May to George Pickens in the year of our Lord 2026? Just, hey, don't even pay attention to that. I don't know. Let's move on to my other stock.
What about Drake May to Drake London? Drake to Drake.
What about Fernando Mendoza to Pickens and London?
The Falcons are never going to let Drake London leave the state of Georgia. They might even not even let him They might just build a shrine and like a pyramid and just have Drake light skin Al Gaib London outside the building where he just has his own hyperbaric chamber and he just chills it just underneath the stadium until game day, just to make sure that he can't get out.
They should use one of those toddler leashes that you see in the mall.
Yeah, him and like Arthur Blank's just gonna have Drake London, you know, like he's my personal assistant on his off days. Like I don't really know. Like it's like why does Arthur Blank have a 6'5", 220-pound dude just following him around with a notepad? It's like, don't worry about it. It's weird to you. It's not weird to them. You know what I'm saying?
Backup band.
All right, who's your next stock up there?
Luther Burden III, man.
Yeah.
I can't look. I'm done with the DJ Moore experiment. I'm done with this Olamide Zacchaeus nonsense. Luther Burden III is displaying all the things that you want to see from a superstar. His profile is almost identical to Jackson Smith and Jigba's in terms of like 5-star recruit, early breakout, doesn't get the same draft capital. They're separated by 16 spots. But the thing is, every time you saw Jackson Smith and Jigba in that Shane Waldron offense as a rookie, he was flashing. Now, Luther Burden III is doing the exact same thing. He's got 136 passer rating when targeted, and he's at like over 3 yards per route run. So he's doing all the stuff. Be early to this because there's still a very attainable price for Luther Burden. You can probably go give up a 2026 first and a 2027 fourth or a third and go get Luther Burden. This dude is a superstar, and I will accept no other answers. They're not even letting him do the stuff that he's best at, which is just putting the ball in his hands and letting him run and create after the catch. So go buy Luther Burden III. That's my second stock up. George Malik Pickens, Luther Burden III. Do it.
I love your Luther Burden call. I mean, he's coming on. I mean, he's battled injuries this whole season, and obviously being a rookie, that puts him back a little bit here. And, you know, getting accustomed to a Ben Johnson offense isn't easy either. So I think this is all just growing pains. I think he's going to have a really nice second half of this year and a very good, you know, introduction to his second year here, and where I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be really steaming up draft boards in this fall here. So let's go on Luther Burden. I like that call here. Well, let's get into our stock downs, and Bigz, why don't you start with yours?
Okay.
Or do you want me to do mine? I guess it's my turn today.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I
want the turn. My stock down is DeAndre Swift. It's probably not a surprise to many people, but he has been coming on a little bit. He has double-digit games in every game except for week 1. He's finished as RB16, RB15 the last 2 games that he's played, RB6 both of the games before that. So that's 4 top 16 or better finishes in the last month. But again, I'm talking strength of schedule going forward. He gets Minnesota this week, then he sees Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and then for the fantasy playoffs, week 14 through 17, he's got Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay again, and the Niners. DeAndre Swift is not going to help you much. So if there's anything that you can do, package 2 firsts and a DeAndre Swift for Travion and go do that deal or something. Do what you can, do your level best to get Travion Henderson, and do your level best to get off of DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, Manungai's coming in. He's showing that, you know, he's able to take on some of those in between the tackles roles, the red zone. I mean, he's showing that even in the week that they split carries last week. And Manungai is somebody that we can't, you know, put that back into the bottle, if you will. So let's keep that up. And yeah, I'm right on board with that call there. What about you, Chev?
Yeah. I mean, now DeAndre Swift is looking the best that he's looked.
Absolutely.
Since those healthy Detroit times. So but there's a good chance that he's probably not going to be a Bear in 2026. There's only I believe a $5 or $3 million dead cap hit, and they're being one of the teams that's mocked to select Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. So it would be really difficult.
Love.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I mean, but he is really him. Like he reads from the book of Himothy when it comes to being a stud running back. So I'm with you, man. I
And
I don't love it.
the unfortunate thing is that Swift in his last 4 weeks, he's had 7.71 yards per carry, 6.53, 4.09, and 6.15. But he did that against Washington, Baltimore, New Orleans, and the Giants. So that's a lot of what I'm talking about is take into account what he's been facing. It hasn't been much, and he's been a boom. He's about to hit some hard walls, and he'll be a bust.
I mean, yes, he did this exact same thing last year. You remember? Like weeks 4 to 7, he accumulated like 533 yards from scrimmage and 4 touchdowns. It was like the RB4. And then after that, he was like the RB40 something. And
Yeah.
this is, so yeah, that great call, Bigz.
All right, so my stock down is Justin Jefferson, but I think with that, lowering his floor here, I think it brings some opportunity. It just hasn't been great for him with his first year quarterback, if you will, JJ McCarthy. The air in Minnesota hasn't been exactly lighting up the scoreboard like we thought it would when, a first year quarterback essentially tags teams with his number one wide receiver, but has not been the case. It seems like, JJ or 9, if you will, is more invested in guys like Jalen Naylor or Jordan Addison. But I think that might change. It's definitely caused Justin Jefferson's floor to go down lower than we've seen in recent years, but we can't deny his elite talent. It's been very frustrating for us as fantasy managers, but this is the exact moment for me that I am buying in on this. You're never going to see his price be as low as it's been. The growing pains at quarterback, I think, are temporarily. I think that JJ McCarthy is a good talent, and I think that he's going to bounce back. I know that Kevin O'Connell is known to be that quarterback whisperer, so I'm not giving up on that, and I'm certainly not giving up on Justin Jefferson. So if somebody's low on him, I'd be going in on him. He's had 3 games with under 50 yards. It's showing desperation, and some desperate, fantasy managers, especially if they're on a run and they have Jefferson in their lineup, you may be able to get him for cheap, especially in Dynasty if you're out of it at this stage. So look for Justin Jefferson as a discount right now, because I don't think his value will ever be as low as it is right now.
I have to disagree with you on one thing. His value may be lower after week 13. If you're in a dynasty league
Okay, fair.
that has no trade deadline, in week 12 and 13, he has Green Bay and Seattle. There's a possibility that he returns to his low double-digit totals. The thing about Justin Jefferson that's wild is that right now he's sitting at wide receiver 13. Now, that's definitely not in the area that we drafted him in. But if you just look down at his game log for 2025, he only has 1 single-digit performance. That was last week. And in that performance, he still had 12 targets. His targets since week 4 have been 11, 11, 10, 11, 9, and 12. He's averaging over 11 targets per game. That's real. He has double-digit performances every week except for 1. If there's a perceived value loss for Jefferson, you have to take advantage of it because he hasn't slipped 1 iota. He is still Jettas.
Well, and the reason why I say that is because, that is arguably one of his worst performances of his whole career after a pretty slow start to this season. So I'm not sure his value is going to get lower. You might have mentioned a couple of worse matchups here, so that could tumble down even further. But right now, it's at as low as it's ever been. The drops, the chemistry. It's almost like he gave up on some of those plays last weekend, and it didn't show a lot of promise to me. But you bring up some tough matchups ahead here, so it could even be worse moving forward.
But after that, he's got Washington, Dallas, New York Giants, and championship week, he has Detroit, which should be a shootout. After the next 3 weeks, you might find a buying window, and then boom, he's going to absolutely destroy the fantasy playoffs. You take a guy who has wide receiver 1 potential, and he goes up against 3 of the bottom 5 defenses in terms of wide receiver points given for your playoff run. Justin Jefferson is going to be a dude.
So what you're saying is I should have given up a third for Jalen Naylor last weekend. All right, so just joking. It was a
No,
joke.
Addison maybe.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to Chev stock down. We're making great time to round off the show here, Chev. Who is your stock down?
It's going to be Michael Penix Jr. It's Drake London's quarterback. I ignored some of the red flags and warning signs from his rookie year. We're still seeing a lot of the mistakes. Go Travion. Go Trav. Continue. Now, I ignored some of the red flags and warning signs from, his rookie year and some of the accuracy things. And now we're seeing those things bear themselves out there. He, outside of targeting Drake London, he has looked like a putrid pocket quarterback. And so I have to now at least consider the fact that we're never going to get the ceiling outcome. I'm going to pivot off of this faster than I did with my Justin Fields love, and just say that like I'm cautiously touchdown Travion Henderson again. That's so beautiful.
Unbelievable.
So beautiful. So I have to pivot off of my priors and saying that Penix is going to be, 99 throw power, the best version of Tua that there is, and realize that maybe, just maybe, we're not going to get that outcome. So I do still have hope. He's got some things that he's got to work on and clean up. So that's why he's in the stock down. I'm not giving up. I'm just realizing that he might not be what we, what me, myself personally thought that he was.
That's your mea culpa.
Yep. I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, and when you look back at his Washington days there, it might just be that some people say that he elevated those wide receivers he was playing with, but maybe it was the opposite at this stage. Who knows? All right. Bigz.
Polk, Polk really,
Yeah.
he really
elevated Polk.
Elevated Polk.
Yeah.
So I wanted to rewind a little bit. Chev, do you have thoughts on Justin Jefferson or?
Yes and no. Like, this is the floor outcome. You hit where we're going to get the ceiling from right on the head. Now, JJ McCarthy's been doing some borderline Anthony Richardson stuff out there in terms of accuracy, and that's what's putting the kibosh on all this. He's been the worst Vikings quarterback out of all the quarterbacks that they've run through in the last, in Kevin O'Connell's tenure. So can it turn around? Yes. Was it a great spot for him to turn it around last week against the Ravens? Also, yes. Did it go poorly for everybody not named Jalen Naylor? Yes, a third time. But that playoff schedule is so juicy that I just text one of my league mates and said, hey, why don't you trade me Justin Jefferson and I'll give you Roma Dunze and something else really cool. So I'm with you. I think that there's a buying opportunity. There's a buying opportunity here for Justin Jefferson because we're one monster performance away. We're 170-yard game away for his price being back to, 2 firsts and a second, or 2 firsts and a really good player, or 3 firsts, which, by the way, guys, you'd be proud of me. I bought Drake London for 2 first-round picks earlier this week, 2 playoff firsts. Just wanted to talk about that with the guys real quick. But yeah, Justin Jefferson is going to smash the fantasy playoffs if JJ McCarthy just gives him balls that can be caught inbounds in the field of play.
I think that'll happen.
There it is.
All right.
I'm going to call an audible again. I know you want to get out of here, Mike, but I just wanted to showcase my alma mater, Arkansas Tech, hosting Chev's alma mater, Harding University, the Fighting Bison, on Saturday. Harding is 10-0, undefeated. They've won 41 of their last 43 games, and in Division II football, they're ranked number 2 in the country. Arkansas Tech is having the best season that I've ever seen, and they're 7-3. That should tell you a lot. I'm so hyped for this game. I have to figure out how to watch it on TV. I think it's going to be on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure Harding is going to absolutely smoke us. But if there's one sliver of a chance that Arkansas Tech can win this game and sneak into the college football playoff in Division II, I'm going to be so hyped. So I just want to throw that out there for all the sickos that watch non-top 25 football. Check out Harding at Arkansas Tech.
And this is especially personal for Bigz and I. Bigz went to Arkansas Tech. I went to Harding. You know, he made sure that we had to talk about this on the show because I did not want to talk about this on the show. But yeah, it's probably I think it's gonna be on ESPN Plus, like plus, or maybe it won't be because of all the Disney stuff. I don't know what's going on with all that. So
I don't have ESPN anymore anyway. So
yeah. It might be on like ESPN 8 The Ocho.
I probably won't even be able to watch the Raiders on Monday night.
Oh, that's insanity.
You guys are all talking like you had the privilege of going to school and stuff. Well, wow. All right, Bigz, take us home here for a great week 11 warm up.
Thank you all for watching and lending your ears. Hopefully we've provided you with some useful info tonight or today, whenever you're watching this, because it doesn't have to be you can watch it whenever you want. You can watch it eating your breakfast. But don't do that on Sunday because then you miss Breakfast with Bigz, which is one of the great shows that we have right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network, along with the Fantasy Forecast, which drops episodes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Breakfast with Bigz, Tuesday, our weekly wrap-up, Friday again with the Dynasty Pulse. Watch Spilled Coffee on Sunday morning right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network following Breakfast with Bigz. And as every week, we hope you win.
Hope you win, folks. Peace out, and we'll see you next week. We got a great guest next week. We have Dustin from the Devi Dojo coming in, and we're going to be talking about the 2026 prospects, and we're going to be doing a lot of probing with Dustin. He likes a big probe, so we're going to give it to him. So from all of us on FSAN, the Undroppables, let's get it.